Udah ya? Masuk aja, masuk aja. Ya sih, masuk aja. Masuk aja. Iya. Soalnya kelihatan, ya, betul. Soalnya kelihatan kosong ruangannya. Betul.
Baik, selamat pagi Bapak Ibu sekalian. Kita akan memulai webinar pada hari ini. Saya izin kepada seluruh speaker, moderator, Ibu Diani Rawati untuk bisa memulai webinar pada hari ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, namo buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good morning and welcome to Director for Settlement and Housing Engineering Development, Head of Implementation Unit for Settlement and Housing, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, all magnificent speakers, discussant, and moderator. And also I would like to greet all distinguished guests and participants that has been participating online via Zoom meeting and YouTube live streaming or offline in this room at University. My name is Hiro Renaldi, and it's my great honor to be your Master of Ceremony for today's highly anticipated international webinar toward Indonesia Smart 2045. Today, we embark on an exciting journey to explore the future of smart cities in Indonesia, where innovation and technology are the driving forces behind sustainable urban development. Before we dive into this enlightening event, let's take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the topic we are about to discuss. This webinar is organized by Ministry of Public Works and Housing in collaboration with the Center for Southeast Asian Social Studies, Gajah Mada University, as the part of the Second National Urban Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, our theme today, Toward Indonesia Smart 2045, encapsulates a vision for the future of Indonesian cities. It's a vision where technology, sustainability, and inclusivity harmonize to create smart cities that enhance the quality of life for all citizens. As we progress through this webinar, we'll explore various facets of smart cities, from innovative technologies to urban planning, sustainability, and the implementation. But before we delve deeper into our discussion, let's get a glimpse of our rundown for us today. Today's webinar is divided into several engaging sessions. It's designed to provide you with valuable insights and perspectives on smart city development. Here's a brief overview for our agenda. There will be an opening, presentation by speakers, Q&A sessions, and after the webinar, we will have workshop for the working group with the related issues. We also encourage you to actively participate by submitting your questions during the Q&A sessions. Simply use the chat or Q&A feature to engage with our esteemed speakers. Before we proceed, I would like to inform a few technical points. First, please ensure that your microphone is muted throughout the webinar to minimize background noise. You can use the chat box feature to communicate with the organizer and speakers. Second, our webinar will include interactive Q&A sessions. So if you have questions for our speakers, please type them into the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to address them during the designated Q&A periods. Third, today's webinar is being recorded and live through our YouTube channel, and the recording will be made available to all registered participants after the event, so you can revisit and part of the webinar later. Lastly, please stay with us until the end of the event, as we have some exciting announcement and a special closing segment that you won't want to miss. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to start this webinar and to increase our sense of nationalism, let us hear and sing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya. To all participants, please give your attention. Thank you for your attention. As a form of our gratitude to God Almighty and so that today's webinar activities can run well, let's pray according to our respective religions and beliefs. Prayer begins. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to officially open today's event, I would like to invite Ibu Dian Irawati, the Director for Settlement and Housing Engineering Development from Ministry of Public Work and Housing, to deliver the opening remarks and set the tone for our discussion. To Ibu Ira, the screen and time are yours.
Thank you, Vero, for my time. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greeting to our speaker, Adlam Yemeru, PhD, Chief of the Knowledge and Innovation Branch, UN Habitats. Bambang Dwi Anggoro, Esos MN, Director of Government Information Application Services, Ministry of Communication and Informatics. Insinyur Zevi Azaino, MSc PhD, Director for National Infrastructure Development, Regional Infrastructure Development Agency, Ministry of Public Works and Housing. Sana Sirapiwat, PhD, Assistant Professor, Silpakom University. Insinyur Muhammad Ramdan Pomanto, Mayor of Makassar City, which being represented by Ismawati Nur, ST MSc PhD, as the interim officer for the Head of Communication and Information Technology Office. Singgi Raharjo SH MED, Mayor of Yogyakarta City, at interim for his representative. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is my great honor today to deliver an opening remark on this webinar Working Group 5, Urban Housing and Basic Services, Smart City for National Urban Forum towards Indonesia Smart 2045. Honorable guests, National Urban Forum is an inclusive platform on the national level involving multi-stakeholders to create the vision for sustainable urban development in accordance with the new urban agenda and sustainable development goals. The forum discusses urban complex issues within the scope of Habitat, part of the Ministry of Public Works and Housing, by involving various ministers and institutions. The forum also seeks to develop well-established networking across stakeholders from various fields. In the long term, we hope that National Urban Forum can become a regular forum to discuss urban issues with the involvement of all stakeholders, to become a knowledge hub and center allowing replication of good practices in the scope of residential and urban development and can provide solutions to urban issues worthy of reference for all parties. This year's National Urban Forum has several topics where each topic will be discussed by forming a working group, overcoming limitation of our duties and function within the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. National Urban Forum requires input and coordination and cooperation coming from other ministries or agencies, local government, academics, professionals, communities, NGOs, as well as the private sector and donor agencies. In commemoration of the World Habitat Day and World Cities Day, as pre-event, on this occasion, we organized an international webinar on smart cities towards Indonesia Smart 2045. The webinar is intended as deep as dive into the topics of smart cities from different stakeholder point of view on the current implementation of smart cities, issues and challenges, impact and implication of the problems, issues, existing and proposed strategies and policies for implementation of smart cities. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the webinar is intended to gather the knowledge and experience from every element of stakeholders on urban issues and find evidence-based policy solution. Therefore, we open a wide discussion room to accommodate knowledge from stakeholders for the implementation of collaboration in mapping complex urban issues and ensuring sustainable development. We hope that in the future, the principles of collaboration within the new urban forum framework will continuously be implemented with full support and commitment from all parties. Ladies and gentlemen, we participants who have joined in the Zoom meeting as well as our YouTube channel, kindly allow us to open the webinar. We also look forward to your participation in the upcoming series of National Urban Forum event as well as the commemoration of World Habitat Day and World City Days in October. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Ibu Ira, for those opening words. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's dive into our webinar session. It is my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Ibu Erika Malonda. Ibu Erika, she is an event professional and communication specialist with over 15 years of qualitative and enriching experience in sales and marketing, project management, and B2B events management. She's got her Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication from London School of Public Relations. She's also a Chief Executive Officer since 2021 to present at ASECH, Center of Excellence on Smart City. To Ibu Erika, the screen and time are yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I would like to greet warm greetings from Bali, where I am joining this webinar online. To all the speakers who had attended this webinar and all the participants who are also attending offline in Yogyakarta. Welcome to the International Webinar on Smart City toward Indonesia Smart 2045. As this is a pre-event of the World Habitat Day and World Cities Day 2023. So we are gathered online from wherever in globe you are right now and offline today to discuss and explore the challenges and opportunities in the development of smart city in Indonesia with the focus of the year 2045. So my name is Erika Malonda. Right now, I'm also as the CEO of ASEC, Center of Excellence on Smart City, which are based here in Jimbaran, Bali, as a support to the initiative of the Indonesia government to accelerate the implementation of smart city in Indonesia. And I will be your moderator of today's event and guide you through the event. I would like to thank for the committee of the National Urban Forum, Ministry of Public Work and Housing, Republic of Indonesia, and also team from the Center for Southeast Asian Social Studies, Gajah Mada University, who also will be assisting in the notes and summarize of the discussions. So once again, thank you for joining today. And we have an exciting lineup of speakers who had attended today morning and the discussion ahead of us. Therefore, I would like to encourage all the participants to also actively participate in the forum, in the webinar. Feel free to drop your messages in the chat box or later on the discussion session. We would like to make the most out of this opportunity to really learn and exchange ideas. Let's make this webinar productive and engaging experience for everyone. So first, we would like to welcome our first speaker today from the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia, representing the Director of Government Information Application Service, who will share the ministry's plans and implementation strategies. I think we already have here joining with us Ibu Dwi Elfrida as the team leader of Smart City Program and Development of E-Services. Are you already joining online, Ibu Dwi? Can you please again check if Ibu Dwi Elfrida from the Ministry of Communication and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia has already joining?
Ibu Dwi still have any difficulties with the technical thing?
Okay. Okay.
Cannot enter this Zoom room. Perhaps I will contact her for this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So then, should we have a more efficient time we probably will give the opportunity first to the next speaker first, who is already joining us online. We would like to hear first then from the Ministry of Public Works and Housing Republic of Indonesia, which represented by Bapak Zevi Azaino as the head of Center for National Infrastructure Development, who will be providing us with important updates and insights throughout the webinar on the ministry's plans and implementation strategy. Engineer Zevi Azaino, the Director of National Infrastructure Development, Ministry of Public Works and Housing. Allow me, Pak, to read a little bit through on the biography with the educational background as a Doctor of Philosophy in City and Regional Planning from Cornell University, and Master of Science BID City Plan from Cornell University, and Bachelor of Science in Environmental Engineering from Bandung Institute of Technology. And right now is taking a role as the Kepala Pusat Pengembangan Infrastruktur Wilayah Nasional. That's in Bahasa Indonesia, PUPR, and a list of role in the Ministry of Public Works since 2020. He is also involved in the policy dialogue on financing infrastructure in developing Asia with ADB Institute in Tokyo, Japan. Therefore, without further ado, Mr. Zevi Azaino, please, the screen and floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Erika. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So it's my pleasure to have this opportunity to engage everyone, all participants in the smart city developments towards Indonesia 2045. So let me start with the urban challenges in Indonesia. Is it ready? Okay. Next, so in Indonesia, as we know, that it's an ongoing rapid urbanization where the population will go up to almost 73% in urban areas in 2050. Also, that means there will be a force of the infrastructure in the cities, including the safe and adequate drinking water. It will be less than 50% right now. People in urban areas have safe and adequate drinking water. Also, equitable sanitation is less than 10% right now. And then 4 out of 10 urban households live in substandard house. Also about the air pollution, including in Jakarta right now that we already see. And then flood, disasters, and land subsidence. So these urban challenges is part of our engagement and how do we manage the urban areas. In 2045, the mega trend and basic capital, as we know, that we have global demography. The world population will increase up to almost 10 billion people in 2050. This is an increase about 40% from right now. And then the natural resources also will compete with those lot of people. And the climate change is also a mega trend that we have to deal with. The basic capital in Indonesia, in 2045, there will be around 324 million people. Human capital is also dominated by the productive age group, and then also social and cultural capital and natural wealth have potential to be utilizing the renewable energy. And then those renewable energy is increasing along with the advance in technology. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there are opportunities and challenges in implementing smart cities in Indonesia. First, the data readiness, and then the emerging technology, and then also we have policy and regulation that have to be increased and deal with, and then also funding availability. We need to create alternative financing, blended financing, public-private partnership, and then how to reduce dependence on certain sector and encourage, but still have to encourage economic growth. Also, stakeholders engagement is important in the implementing of the smart cities. In globally, we have this Paris Agreement, the COP21, CMP11, also Sendai Framework, and then there are also SDGs that we have to deal with and we have to comply with. And then there is also a new urban agenda, which is basic service and safe, affordable housing, urbanization, resilience to disasters, and so on. So in mind, that we have to build a policy and strategy toward urban or smart cities until 2045. We have a study under review about the national urban policy. The mission in 2005, we have 5 missions. First, we need to realize the national urban system that is balanced and prosperous and equitable. Second, about the encouragement of urban livable that is inclusive and can still maintain the local culture. And then the third one is encouraging and investing the prosperous cities, and then green and resilient cities, and then the last, realizing the transparent, accountable, and intelligent and integrated urban governance. Indonesia in 2045 is targeted to be the fifth developed countries and largest GDPs, around 7.4 trillion US dollars. But we still have to try to escape the middle income trap, which is targeted in 2036. And now in Ministry of Public Works and Housing, and then in Indonesia, also we have a target in 2024 towards smart and sustainable development. This is under the National Medium-Term Development Plan, or RPGMN, which have the basic infrastructures, economics, and urban infrastructure targets in 5 years until 2024 next year. However, we also have a study from the Ministry of Public Works infrastructure targets by 2045. This is under the draft of the long-term development plan, or LPGPN 2025-2045, which some of them, like water capacity, cubic meter per capita per year, we have a target from 66.7 to 200 in 2045. Also, urban household access to piped drinking water from the baseline in 2025 next year, 39%. We plan to increase into 100% of household in urban areas have a safe or access to piped drinking water, including the construction of drinking water treatment plant, and then prohibition of groundwater extraction, and then a reduced idle capacity. So in the Ministry of Public Works and Housing, in PUPR, we have an approach to how to develop the infrastructure according to the national priority themes, including the Country, Border, and National Strategic Activity Center, or PKSN, in the metropolitan areas, in the new town, including Sofifi, Tanjung Selor, Maja, Sorong, and so on. And then how to develop the food production center in West Java, East Java, and South Sulawesi, and so on. And then the national priority of rural areas, national tourism strategic area, and so on. So, and then in Ministry of Public Works, or in RIDA or BPIW, we also develop a regional infrastructure development plan. This is a platform for integrated infrastructure development plan in the selected strategic areas in all 4 provinces in Indonesia. So Ministry of Public Works and Housing also implemented sustainable infrastructures, including the environmental soundly infrastructures, economically viable, socially acceptable. This includes some of the projects in Indonesia, river restoration in Cikapundung in Bandung, and then also we built green toll roads in the entire country. For example, in this picture is Pandaan Malang Toll Road, and then also green buildings and the surroundings. We maintain the surroundings, the environmental of the offices to be green. This has been in our office in Jakarta, in Ministry of Public Works and Housing. We have a more green open space, a zero runoff, and then 50% of water consumption is reduced. Also rainwater harvesting, and then energy save about 40%, and also integrated pedestrian and disabled path, and so on, including the solar panel technology. This is implemented in our office. Also, there is a waste to energy, including RDF, refuse derived fuel. This is an example in Denpasar, where the President Jokowi opened it. And then in Malang, Old Town, we have a urban renewal. So you can see the before and after this project, which improve the citizen livelihood through the city from the slum areas. We upgraded it into a better place, and then also the preservation of the heritage. And then we also built green housings. It's a prototype of low energy flats using natural ventilation to reduce carbon emissions. Also, there are in asphalt, we mixed plastic with asphalt. So we developed this, and then we implemented in various roads throughout Indonesia. And then last but not least, and there's IKN, the new capital city in East Kalimantan, which have 8 principles and 24 key performance index for the IKN as a world-class city for all. And the Ministry of Public Works and Housing have several projects in the IKN, or the Nusantara Capital City, including the State Palace, the toll roads for the access to the NCC, or Nusantara Capital City, and then also we built the residential tower for the construction for the workers. And then there's also a national axis phase 1, which is still ongoing and targeted to be completed in 2024. In Ministry of Public Works and Housing, we also have a study about NUDP, National Urban Development Project, which is still an ongoing study. This is a platform for urban transformation in Indonesia. We have to implement sustainable cities by 2045. We have to review, we are going to review the National Urban Policy, the City Positioning Study, and then we develop scenarios and strategy towards the various cities to National Urban Development Strategy. Also, we have the ICP, Integrated City Planning, and then the Capital Investment Planning for the cities. And there are pilot cities that we're going to work with. There are 13 pilot cities, including 1 industrial area, which is Morowali. Out of those 13 cities, there are 5 cities that we're going to have pilot projects, including Balikpapan. This city is near the IKN, or the National Capital City, and then Semarang, Bengkulu, Ambon, and 1 industrial area, which is Morowali. I think that will be all. Thank you very much, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Ms. Erika.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih Pak Kapus for the very extensive presentations of the overall projects which has been led by the Ministry of Public Works. So Public Works definitely plays a very crucial role in smart cities by providing the necessary infrastructure and services that form the backbone of the urban development. And therefore, it's very essential in creating the foundation for the sustainable, connected, and livable urban environment in smart city. So before we move ahead to the next speakers and presentations, I would like to also greet all the participants. What I see right now, we already have 274 participants who are joining this webinar online. Thank you for joining us this morning. And after this, we would like to hear more of the planning, strategies, and implementation, which has been done by another very important aspects in Smart City from the Ministry of Communications and Informatics of the Republic of Indonesia. representing the Director of Government Information Application Service atau Direktur Layanan Aplikasi Informatika, already present with us, Ibu Dwi Elfrida. Halo Ibu Dwi. Oke, suaranya masih belum clear, boleh dicoba sekali lagi. Can we try one more time? We have not been able to hear your voice clearly.
Suara saya sudah terdengar?
Ya, oke. Now we can hear your voice better. Sudah didengar lebih jelas, Ibu Dwi. So, Ibu Dwi Elfrida is a team leader of Smart City Program and Development of E-Service. It's been a long time, Bu Dwi. We have not met, so it's good to catch up again with the implementations strategy, which has been done all through the years. A lot of initiatives by the Ministry of Communication and Informatics. Please, the screen and floor is yours, and just to keep up with the time, as we have a extensive speakers, we will have 10 to 15 minutes. Please, Ibu Dwi, screen is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to us, and apologize from our director that he cannot join today with us. But hopefully, I'm representing him today to present to share the experience or what we have done so far in terms of implementation of smart city in Indonesia. Okay, the movement towards smart cities, how we call our program, the movement towards smart city. Of course, the background in this program is the increasing of the internet penetration in Indonesia, and also some of problems around public administration implementation in Indonesia, such as political change, demographic change, technological change, and change in urbanization, and also, of course, economic change. Those kind of problem. Indeed, the COVID-19 happened in 2020 to 2021, responded by the central government, especially by our president, Mr. Jokowi, that we have to accelerate. We have to make the digital transformation faster than before. And one of the effort that done by the government, central government, is to accelerate the implementation of smart city in all cities in Indonesia. And we have 540 cities and regencies in Indonesia. And then what is the basic design of smart city? Of course, we have a problem about the property, how the city or counties in Indonesia have to fulfill their basic needs of the people. And then we have also to create the safety environment for the people. And then we have to increase the sense of belonging, the happiness of the people who live in their community. And then also we have to increase the appreciation toward the government and also toward the communities in society, and also self-actualization. That we have to also to increase the morality, creativity, the freedom for the society. And we come up with the idea of SMART, which is a specific, measurable, aggressiveness, realistic, and time-bound. On this kind of philosophy, we try to implement when we assist a city and regency when they have to make their master plan of smart city. So we hope that master plan, the planning that they have in 1, 5, and until 10 years can also solve this kind of problem in order to give that kind of service to the society. And also, we have a lot of issues, especially in a big city in Indonesia, such as Jakarta, Surabaya, Medan, that we have a flooding issue, environment disaster issue, and also lack of the housing for the people, lack of the healthiness for the society. And then together with the expert from some of the university in Indonesia, we also cooperate with University of Gajah Mada, University of Indonesia, ITB, Perbanas, and UKSW. We will work together with a lot of professors to form what is the framework that we will implement in Indonesia. And we came up with the idea of this framework that we believe these 6 dimensions for the smart city, which is smart governance, smart economy, smart society, smart living, smart environment, and more importantly is a smart building. Maybe a little bit different with the framework that usually we see in the Europe or America, because we believe that every city and regency in Indonesia is very unique. They have their local potential, they have their local uniqueness that they have to increase it, and in order to get more intention from the investor, in order to increase the development of smart city in each city and regency. And also one of the challenging that we have faced in implementation to implement the smart city in city and regency are to make the understanding about the basic concept of smart city, because we have seen there are a lot of city and regency claim themselves as smart city just because they have some tools of IT, Internet of Things, or just to make political brand from the mayor or region itself. We don't want that city and regency in Indonesia continue with this kind of concept. So when they claim to want to implement smart city, we want them go deeply and then holistic to build the city and regency, understanding what the needs of the city and regency and how the innovation, the smart innovation that has to be implemented to build their city. And since 2017, we have held around about 191 city and regency in Indonesia. This is that some challenges that we have heard from city and regency. They talk about doesn't have enough money to build their city. They talk about doesn't have enough human research in their city and regency. They talk about doesn't have an proper regulation in the smart city. And we always encourage them that the solution to this dilematic problem is collaboration and cooperation with all parties in a city and in regency, because there is I believe also there is no city and regency in Indonesia that can build by government. I believe that smart city will be success when every party, community, private sector, the government, academics, is work together, collaboration, and create collaboration and cooperation, and to solve the problem and create the innovation in a city or regency. Regarding the program movement towards smart city since 2017 until now, we doing that step by step. Start from 25 city emergency and then continue until now. We already have around, even until 2023 is about 241 city and regency that not only we help them to make a master plan smart city, but also to give a proper literacy about what smart city really is, so that they don't claim themselves as smart city because misunderstanding what smart city really is. And to teach or to give a proper literacy about smart city is very important in Indonesia. So with proper understanding what smart city really is, write it down in their master plan, in master plan for 1, 5, and 10 years. So they will know what to do in the short, middle, and long term in order to build their city with smart innovation. This is the name of the city that we have had so far. And also in the movement towards smart city, we also strengthen smart city opportunity for cooperation with non-government or private sector. In many local government, the collaboration and cooperation with non-government party, I can say is quite low, because often the government plays a king in the region, instead of like a public servant. And also some of the government also close themselves, not open for cooperation to the other parties, especially for the private sector, in order to build the proper or infrastructure in their city and in our regency. And this is very big challenging for most of city or regency in Indonesia. Only quite few advanced city and regency that already open up to the private sector. And also the challenging is the level of adoption of technology. Kominfo also have digital literacy for the society in many regions, in many city and regency, that when the need of the society increase, the need of the internet or ICT itself increase, we believe that the connection or the proper infrastructure of ICT will be built more properly by the private sector, because the investor will see that this and this is also the challenges in Indonesia. We want to increase the dependency to the ICT itself by teaching the people how to increase the quality of their life by using the internet or ICT technology. And also another challenging is career the innovations. As I said before, that in our opinion, smart city is about innovation, how to solve the problem with the smart innovation. And technology is enabler, is the tool that help them to accelerate or to expand the impact of the program itself to the society. The ICT is not the main success factor for the smart city, but enablers that help the government, also the society, to give a better impact to the society. And also since 2023, we have started a smart province program. In this term, we want the development of smart province is based on regional concept. It means that every city and regency within a province will have own potential, better diversification in each city and regency. So each city or city and regency can complete each other, and they can grow together as a one province, a smart province. So the gap between one city and another city within a province will be minimized or even disappear. There is no gap anymore between a city and regency. By building and supporting the unique potential from each city or regency in each city in the province. For example, in province of
probably given time about 2 more minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
For example, province of Yogyakarta, we want that Sleman have their own potential, Gunung Kidul have their own potential, Kulon Progo have their own potential, that those potential complete each other in order to build and develop a smart province, which is a province of Yogyakarta. And also, since 2023, we start Smart Cities Business Matchmaking. Basically, this program is intended to help local government to build more smart city infrastructure through the public-private partnership. And also, this year, we start to make a ministerial regulation, draft of ministerial regulation about smart city standardization. Because of the limit of time, so I just like a brief to give what is the regulation about. So this regulation will regulate the framework of smart city itself, the standard, the minimum standard that have to be fulfilled by the local government in order to be claimed a smart city. And also in this regulation will be, there is a maturity index for each city and regency. So every city and or regency will know which level or in which index the maturity of the smart city development in their city. And also what Kominfo, especially Direktorat government have given to the local government, basically is some ICT infrastructure. We don't want every city and regency have duplicate budget to build the same infrastructure, ICT infrastructure. So the government of the central government provide data center, provide some general application for the local government to have local government, which is city and regency, can focus on building specification, uniqueness, or another smart city infrastructure in their city and regency. So that's all that I can share to all of you. And I will welcome some maybe question from the participant in later on in question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ibu Dwi Alfrida, for very extensive presentations. And Ministry of Communication and Informatics is definitely instrumental in smart city implementations due to the role in shaping the digital infrastructure, regulations, policies which underpin this urban environments. And furthermore, oversees the development of digital network and ensures the interoperability among various technologies to enable the seamless operations of the smart city systems. And we are very happy to see that there are so many projects and initiatives which has been done all through the years. But of course, we would like to see more, on a strategic development in the future to cover 548 cities all throughout Indonesia. And that cannot be done without the collaborations between all the stakeholders. Therefore, it's I think after the sessions, ladies and gentlemen, speakers and participants, we will also have a working group. As Ibu Dwi said, it's very important to understand more on the regulations and also standardization of smart city. I think we will have also an expert from the Badan Standardization Agency Indonesia or BSN about the standard of smart city, which has been discussed over the years in Indonesia, and the maturity standards, which has been also built and initiated by the Ministry of Home Affairs along with the other ministry. So we will discuss more about that. But next, we would like to hear also who had been present with us, Ms. Adlam Yemeru, as the Chief of the Knowledge in the Innovation Branch of UN Habitat. Hello, Mrs. Adlam. Can you hear our voice clear?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much. So, Mrs. Adlam Yemeru, PhD, as the Chief of the Knowledge and Innovation Branch of UN Habitat, at the educational background in human geography from Queen Mary University of London, and a Master of Philosophy in Development Studies from Universities of Cambridge, with the professional experience in the UN Human Settlement Program in Nairobi, Kenya, Director Gender, Poverty and Social Policy, Urbanization and Development Section in Ethiopia, and Special Assistant to the Deputy Executive Director for United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime in Kabul, Afghanistan. So therefore, we would like to hear more from you regarding to the program of the UN Habitat. So the screen and floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I hope you can hear me. I also hope that my PowerPoint can be displayed by the organizers before I proceed. Could you kindly confirm if the PowerPoint can be displayed or whether the preference is that I share the presentation? Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished representatives, and dear participants, I want to start by thanking the government of Indonesia and all of you for providing an opportunity for UN Habitat to be part of today's very important webinar. My name, as has been already indicated, is Adlam Yemeru. I am currently the Head of Knowledge and Innovation at UN Habitat. So it's been highly informative to hear from the previous speakers about the opportunities, challenges, and vision for smart city development in Indonesia. And I would like to applaud Indonesia's prioritization of smart city development as an essential element of sustainable urban and national development in the country. Now, moving on to provide just a little bit of context on UN Habitat, the United Nations Human Settlements Program. This is a program within the United Nations that focuses and works primarily on promoting a better urban future and more sustainable cities and human settlements globally. So we work with both national and local governments and other stakeholders to promote socially and environmentally sustainable human settlements that are also prosperous and able to deliver a better quality of life for citizens. We do work in over 90 countries directly, providing technical assistance, generating knowledge to inform policy formulation, and also engaging in advocacy. We are also in the United Nations the lead for coordinating the monitoring of Sustainable Development Goal 11, as well as the new urban agenda, which defines global urban policy priorities. Just to also highlight that at UN Habitat, smart city development and digital urban transformation is central to our work. And this is particularly so because in the new urban agenda adopted in 2016 at the third United Nations Conference on Sustainable Urban Development and Housing, there is a clear recognition and prioritization of smart city approaches and digital technology as necessary for realizing sustainable urban development. So this is really what drives our work at UN Habitat, and why we are part of this conversation and global efforts to promote smart city development. Moving on, as has been highlighted, we live in an urban era, in an urban planet. This is the same in the context of Indonesia. Urbanization is really a defining trend of our times. This is the same in the global context, and we know that by 2050, almost 70% of the global population will indeed be urban. Next, in this urban context in the world, we also know that digital technology and digitization is a major megatrend that is really transforming how we live, where we live, how we work, and really all aspects of development for people and for the planet. In this context of rapid urbanization and digital development and transformation, it's really important to ask how can we ensure that we leverage technology in a way that our cities can be sustainable and resilient. And to be sustainable and resilient, digital transformation in cities must be first and foremost about people and about communities. And cities are smart when they prioritize people's needs, people's priorities, and also fully engage communities in digital transformation. And so this is important to consider how digital technology can ensure that cities are indeed sustainable, inclusive, and focused on people. Of course, in this journey, and as highlighted by the previous speakers, there are many challenges as there are opportunities. Next, looking at some of the key sort of benefits of digital technology in the context of urban development. Some of them have been highlighted already. We know that there are many opportunities to transform how we live, how we work, and how we experience our cities in our world today. We know that digital technology, for example, can dramatically transform public administration in cities to be more efficient, open, transparent, and accountable, and also to more effectively deliver public infrastructure and services to communities. So there are multiple benefits in applying digital technology in cities. Next slide, please. And further to the many opportunities that there are in the context of cities, we also know that there are vast challenges. And again, some of these have been highlighted by the previous speakers in the context of Indonesia, for example. And just to highlight some of these, we know that in some cases, smart city solutions can be driven more by the supply side and technology side, rather than emphasizing the needs of citizens and their residents. We also know that in some cases, there is a tendency to try to apply generic smart city blueprint approaches and technologies without adequate contextualization and understanding of contextual needs and conditions. And so there is a risk sometimes of trying to promote a one-size-fits-all approach, and this can be problematic. Of course, another challenge that is very well known to all of us is the digital divide, whereby inequalities in access to digital technologies and e-services and infrastructure, and even inequalities in terms of digital skills, can leave marginalized communities behind. And this is a major risk. So these are some of the challenges that have already been highlighted earlier as well. So at UN Habitat, our work on smart city development takes into account both the opportunities as well as some of these challenges. And because of this, we have launched and defined what we call a people-centered smart cities approach and program. So this is really the centerpiece of our work at UN Habitat. Next slide, please. Yes, and so this people-centered smart cities approach at UN Habitat has 5 fundamental pillars. The first is the community pillar. And here we are emphasizing the need for empowering people and communities and focusing primarily on the needs of people and communities and designing technology solutions around those needs of people and communities. A second pillar focuses on digital equity. And here the priority is really to promote equitable access to technology and digital solutions in the context of cities to avoid the consequences, the grave consequences of the digital divide. A third pillar looks at how we can responsibly manage digital and data infrastructure. So this includes questions of ensuring convenience in accessibility and creating governance frameworks for data that promote responsible and inclusive approaches. We also have a fourth pillar focused on security, and here it's really looking at building and safeguarding public trust as we apply digital technology solutions in our cities. Finally, and importantly, is capacity. And here it's really about strengthening capacities, especially of public administration and other stakeholders as a precondition for smart city development. So this is really our approach at UN Habitat for people-centered smart city development. Next, please. And just to give you a better sense of exactly what we do globally, we are engaged in global advocacy. So we ensure that we participate in global forums and platforms, and we are always advancing the principles of people-centric and people-centered smart city development. We also provide support for strengthening and enhancing capacities in smart city development for high impact for the benefit of people. We work with national and local governments globally, and we provide advisory services for the development of smart city plans, strategies, and visions. We are also engaged in providing technical inputs and innovative solutions for financing of smart city development and investment. And again, more on our work at UN Habitat. Next slide, please, to give you examples. We have many tools and solutions related to digital governance, rights, and participation. We are also currently expanding our work to provide clear frameworks and guidance to city leaders on AI application in the context of cities. And importantly, we have a platform called the United Nations Innovation Technology Accelerator for Cities, UNITAC, which is based in Hamburg, Germany. And this is a partnership between UN Habitat, the International Telecommunications Union, and Hafen City University. Now, in all these areas, I will be happy to share with all of you additional information on how we can collaborate and how we can engage further in these ways, of course, as you continue to work on your smart city development priorities and plans in the context of Indonesia. Next, please. Now, I would like to share with you a major development that will impact smart city approaches globally. And this refers to the international guidelines on people-centered smart cities. In June 2023 of this year, the second session of the United Nations Habitat Assembly, which was held in Nairobi, Kenya, took a very important decision through a resolution. The decision was for UN Habitat to develop a non-binding framework for developing an international guideline on people-centered smart cities. Member states recognize the need for ensuring that people are at the center of smart city development globally. For this reason, they have asked UN Habitat, us, to develop these international guidelines, working with all countries, national and local governments, and ensuring a highly inclusive global consultation process. Now, these guidelines will be developing the key principles, values, and common objectives around people-centered smart cities. Next slide, please. Now, why did member states mandate UN Habitat to develop these international guidelines on people-centered smart cities? It's really about ensuring that we have common principles, values, and targets as smart city development advances globally. Contexts are very different in terms of smart city development, but the principles and values of people-centered smart cities are common to all of us, and it is important to promote those common principles and values across our member states, across national and local government efforts to promote smart city development. In this process, UN Habitat will be consulting widely, both with the public sector as well as other stakeholders and the private sector. We have started the process at the moment. We will be conducting a global assessment of the state of smart city development to assess what are the key trends, challenges, and opportunities for smart city development globally. And so your experience in Indonesia is, of course, relevant and very important for this kind of assessment. And we will be holding both global and regional consultations for this important process. The international guidelines on people-centered smart cities will be completed and adopted by member states and countries in 2025. So this is what is envisioned as an objective for this process. Just to give you a sense of the details of this process, if we could move to the next slide, please. Yes, so between now and 2025 at UN Habitat, we will be working on the assessment of smart city experiences globally, and we will be holding wide consultations. We have indeed communicated with member states through our intergovernmental process to invite countries to propose the hosting of global experts meetings as well as regional consultations. So this is also to inform you that through your mission in Nairobi, we have communicated a call for expressions of interest to host global EGMs and regional consultations, and this may be of interest to your administration as well. We will be appointing experts at the global and regional level for this process. We have invited every country to nominate 2 experts to join the preparatory process. 30 of those experts will be selected to work at the global level on the guidelines, and the rest of the nominated experts will join the regional consultations and EGMs. And as I said, we hope to complete this process by 2025. This is an extremely important process at a time when smart city development is happening very fast and in very diverse and different ways. It is essential to ensure that it is people-centered and ultimately it leads to a better quality of life for people, for everyone, everywhere. And these guidelines will be extremely important in setting the common global vision around smart city development and the principles and values that are common to all of us in these efforts. Of course, once the guidelines are developed, the idea is that these guidelines will inform and be a foundation for smart city development globally, both at the national and local level. I would also like to highlight that within the United Nations, there are extensive efforts to promote common global approaches and perspectives to digital transformation more broadly. Our Secretary General is championing a process for the development of a global digital compact. And again, the objective here is to ensure that we promote global responsibility and inclusive approaches to digital transformation globally. The Global Digital Compact of the United Nations will be adopted in 2024 at the Summit of the Future. So this is really to give you a sense that at UN Habitat and at the United Nations, we are really advancing our efforts and our work to ensure that smart city development is indeed inclusive, is people-focused, is sustainable, and ultimately results in positive outcomes, sustainable outcomes, not only for people, but also for the planet, for which we have a joint global responsibility. So I'll be, if we go to the next slide, I will be very happy to share additional information on how we can work together and engage and collaborate more broadly on smart city development, but certainly also in the context of the international guidelines on people-centered smart cities. As you can see, the calls for expressions of interest to host meetings for the international guidelines and to nominate experts are already out. And we have the deadline set for 30th of September for each country to share their proposals for hosting of meetings or nomination of experts. So we really look forward to working with you, with your administration, with your stakeholders in your country on this common global process and common global objective to ensure that we have people-centered smart city development. So thank you very much for this opportunity again. And I really very much look forward to seeing how we can work together going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adlam Yameru. It was a very great information for us in Indonesia to understand this common goals which has been set by the United Nations. And I think it's a very important role to of the UN Habitat also in setting up these guidelines. And we would like to very much be involved. In the process, we would like to also inviting experts who are attending this forum, this webinar. We have right now 299 participants joining, and also over 100 plus joining on YouTube. So there's a lot of concerns from a lot of stakeholders in Indonesia to get involved in the process. And after this, also the working group, now we are inviting few experts in Indonesia to collaborate, bring together all the similar thoughts and concern, and to hopefully support UN Habitat. Thank you very much. And we are actually a little behind of time, but right now we would like to invite as speakers from Yogyakarta, which is one of the city in Indonesia where the event is taking place offline. If the head of Bapeda already joining with us. Selamat pagi, Bapak. Good morning to you. Apology that we are a little behind.
Yes, selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi, Bapak. So he will be presenting about the implementation of smart city in Yogyakarta city, and he will deliver in Bahasa Indonesia. Hopefully after this that we could give a little summary in English also. Mohon izin Bapak, mungkin bisa waktunya sekitar 10 menit Bapak.
Okay.
Terima kasih.
Makasih Bu Erika. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. izin kami menggantikan Pak Singgih Raharjo, Wali Kota Yogyakarta tidak bisa hadir. Ada acara bersamaan dengan Bapak Gubernur DIY pada acara keterbukaan informasi dengan Badan Publik Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta. Pada kesempatan ini kami akan memaparkan bagaimana implementasi Smart City di Kota Yogyakarta. Selamat pagi, salam sehat, salam kolaborasi, salam cerdas, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Yang kami hormati narasumber dari Kementerian Komunikasi dan Informatika, narasumber dari Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat, dan narasumber dari UN Habitat, dan narasumber dari Silpakorn University of Thailand. Dan yang kami hormati Prof. Rini Rahmawati dari Universitas Gajah Mada selaku pembahas, dan Ibu Erike Brigita Malonda sebagai moderator, serta hadirin sekalian yang berbahagia. Jadi pada kesempatan ini kami akan menyampaikan bagaimana materi tentang implementasi Smart City di Kota Yogyakarta. Ini sebagai bahan sharing dan bahan diskusi dalam rangka International Webinar on Smart Cities Toward Indonesia Smart 2045 dalam Forum the Second National Urban Forum. Hadirin yang berbahagia, jadi penyelenggaraan Smart City di Kota Yogyakarta ini mendasarkan pada beberapa regulasi dalam pelaksanaannya, antara lain ada Peraturan Wali Kota Nomor 34 Tahun 2019 tentang pelayanan kelurahan dan kementerian yang berbasis elektronik. Yang kedua ada Peraturan Wali Kota Nomor 131 Tahun 2021 tentang Master Plan Pengembangan Smart City Kota Yogyakarta 2022-2026 dan Peraturan Wali Kota Nomor 142 Tahun 2021 tentang Rencana Induk Sistem Pemerintahan Berbasis Elektronik 2022 sampai dengan 2026. Selanjutnya, untuk mendukung dan memastikan bagaimana arah penyelenggaraan dan pengembangan Smart City ini berjalan sesuai dengan perencanaan, dibentuklah namanya Dewan Smart City dan tim pelaksana pengembangan Smart City. Jadi Dewan Smart City ini melaksanakan rapat minimal 1 kali dalam setahun yang dihadiri oleh anggota Dewan Smart City dan melibatkan unsur eksternal. Ibu Bapak yang saya hormati, jadi visi Smart City Kota Yogyakarta yaitu mewujudkan visi pembangunan Kota Yogyakarta melalui layanan yang efektif, yang efisien, transparan, akuntabel dan partisipatif yang dikelola secara terintegrasi dan berkelanjutan dengan dukungan teknologi untuk keberdayaan masyarakat. Jadi visi ini Bapak Ibu tidak lepas dari visi pembangunan jangka panjang Kota Yogyakarta, yaitu Kota Yogyakarta sebagai kota pendidikan berkualitas, pariwisata berbasis budaya, dan pusat pelayanan jasa yang berwawasan lingkungan. Dan dalam masa transisi ini, visi jangka panjang ini juga menjadi visi pembangunan Kota Yogyakarta yang terdapat di dalam RPD atau Rencana Pembangunan Daerah 2023-2026. Ada 11 isu strategis yang harus diperhatikan dan dikedepankan dalam perencanaan pembangunan daerah karena dampaknya yang sangat signifikan dan bersifat penting, bersifat mendasar, bersifat mendesak, serta bagaimana menentukan pencapaian tujuan penyelenggaraan pemerintah daerah di masa yang akan datang. Adapun ada 11 isu strategis Kota Yogyakarta adalah yang pertama, peningkatan kualitas pendidikan. Yang kedua, peningkatan kualitas pariwisata. Yang ketiga, peningkatan pertumbuhan ekonomi. Yang keempat adalah penanggulangan kemiskinan. Yang kelima adalah peningkatan kesesuaian pemanfaatan ruang. Selanjutnya ada peningkatan kualitas lingkungan hidup, ada peningkatan keberdayaan masyarakat, ada peningkatan kapasitas dan ada penanggulangan gangguan ketentraman dan ketertiban masyarakat, dan peningkatan infrastruktur wilayah, dan yang terakhir adalah peningkatan derajat kesehatan masyarakat. Jadi dengan adanya Smart City ini diharapkan dapat membantu menyelesaikan beberapa isu-isu strategis yang ada di Kota Yogyakarta. Selanjutnya kita bicara masalah misi Smart City itu sendiri. Jadi terdapat 6 misi dari Smart City Kota Yogyakarta, mulai dari misi pertama, mewujudkan tata kelola pemerintahan yang baik, bersih dan birokrasi yang efektif, serta efisien dalam pelaksanaan atau pelayanan publik yang terintegrasi. Sampai nantinya dengan misi yang keenam yang ada di slide, yaitu mewujudkan pembangunan yang berkelanjutan atau sustainable development melalui pengelolaan lingkungan yang pintar dengan memfokuskan pembangunan berkelanjutan dengan memperhatikan pengelolaan sumber daya lingkungan hidup dan fasilitas pendukungnya secara berkelanjutan serta tanggap bencana sebagaimana terdapat di dalam slide. Hadirin yang saya hormati, jadi tujuan dari konsep Smart City ini memiliki 6 pilar. Yang pertama adalah pilar Smart Governance. Ini adalah meningkatkan transparansi, akuntabilitas, dan bagaimana partisipasi dalam pelaksanaan pemerintahan dan pelayanan masyarakat melalui pembenahan sistem dan prosedur kelembagaan yang sesuai dengan kebutuhan serta memanfaatkan dukungan teknologi dan informasi yang terintegrasi. Itu yang pertama. Yang kedua adalah Smart Branding. Ini meneguhkan bagaimana posisi Kota Yogyakarta sebagai kota pendidikan, sebagai kota pariwisata, dan sebagai kota pelayanan jasa yang berlandaskan keunggulan kompetitif. Yang ketiga adalah Smart Branding. Ini yang kedua ya, Smart Branding. Ini meneguhkan posisi Kota Yogyakarta sebagai kota pendidikan, pariwisata, dan pelayanan jasa yang berlandaskan keunggulan kompetitif. Yang ketiga, Smart Economy ya. Smart Economy ini bagaimana kita meningkatkan peluang usaha melalui pengembangan usaha kecil, mikro, menengah, dan koperasi dengan membangun ekosistem keuangan digital. Yang keempat adalah Smart Living, ini meningkatkan kualitas harmonisasi tata ruang kota dan sarana prasarana publik yang terintegrasi. Dan yang kelima adalah Smart Society, ini adalah meningkatkan bagaimana peran serta masyarakat dalam pembangunan melalui strategi gerakan gandeng gendong. Yang juga ada juga meningkatkan bagaimana manajemen keamanan dan keselamatan masyarakat melalui pemanfaatan teknologi informasi. Dan Smart yang terakhir adalah Smart Environment, yaitu meningkatkan tata kelola lingkungan yang baik, yang berkelanjutan, dan lingkungan yang bertanggung jawab. Jadi Ibu Bapak, bagaimana dalam kita mensinergikan antara beberapa 5K ini dalam penerapan Smart City, jadi pemerintah kota Yogyakarta ini bekerja sama dengan 5 unsur pentahelik atau 5K. Yang pertama ada kampung, kampus, pemerintah kota itu sendiri, dan korporasi dan komunitas. Kampung di sini adalah sebagai basis pelaksanaan dan pengembangan program, itu adalah kampung. Dan kampus adalah dukungan para penguatan SDM pelaku UKM, dan Research and Development, ini di forum LPPM-nya. Dan kota, ini adalah sebagai perumus kebijakan. Ini juga sebagai perumus perencanaan dan sampai monitoring evaluasi pelaksanaan program. Yang keempat adalah korporat atau korporasi, penggunaan dan pengembangan produk lokal, promosi sampai fasilitasi. Ini di dalam forum CSR. Dan yang kelima adalah komunitas, atau ini adalah konsolidasi inter dan antar komunitas bagi pelaksanaan program dan sosialisasi. Jadi sinergi 5K ini diperkuat untuk menyusun strategi guna memperkuat sektor ekonomi masyarakat Kota Yogyakarta. Seperti optimalisasi dana CSR melalui forum CSR. Ada optimalisasi peran komunitas. Ada optimalisasi peran perguruan tinggi melalui forum LPPM. Dan ada optimalisasi pendapatan masyarakat miskin melalui SIM Nglarisi. Nah, setelah bicara itu, bagaimana peluang kemitraannya? Jadi kemitraan ini dengan pihak eksternal, ini telah diwadahi dengan adanya forum CSR yang membuka kesempatan dan memberi peluang bagi pihak eksternal untuk ikut serta dalam pengembangan inovasi dan pembangunan Kota Yogyakarta. Jadi pemerintah Kota Yogyakarta ini juga mengangkat program lokal kita adalah program kebijakan lokal gandeng gendong, yaitu bagaimana upaya pemerintah kota untuk mensinergikan dan bekerja sama dengan seluruh stakeholder, baik UMKM maupun perusahaan yang telah maju dalam mencapai kesejahteraan masyarakat Kota Yogyakarta. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, jadi Jogja Smart Service atau JSS ini merupakan aplikasi balai kota virtual atau portal maya pemerintah Kota Yogyakarta dengan konsep single ID, single window, single on, dan dalam rangka apa? Memberikan layanan langsung kepada seluruh masyarakat di Kota Yogyakarta. Dan keunggulan dari Jogja Smart Service ini adalah data real time, interaksi telepon dan chat dengan pelapor, dan tracking laporan, dan praktis, dan presisi, dan yang paling terpenting adalah cepat ditangani. Dan sampai dengan bulan September 2023 ini, jumlah pengguna JSS atau Jogja Smart Service mencapai 229.205 pengguna dengan basis NIK, nomor induk kependudukan, dengan jumlah modul mencapai 229 aplikasi, di mana statistik jumlah pengguna dan jumlah layanan yang diakses terpantau dengan baik. Selanjutnya, Ibu Bapak, kita beralih ke dimensi smart branding. Berikut merupakan capaian kegiatan smart branding khususnya yang capaian Smart City Kota Yogyakarta termasuk ke dalam dimensi smart branding. Yang pertama adalah tourism branding. Jadi pada tahun 2022 dilakukan melalui pengembangan website kampung wisata serta pelaksanaan festival sebagai sarana promosi kampung wisata di Kota Yogyakarta, yang diantaranya ada festival kampung wisata, ada festival prawiro taman, ada pawai alegoris di Kampung Giwangan. Itu yang pertama mengenai tourism branding. Yang kedua adalah city appearance. Ini pada tahun 2021 dan 2022 ini dilakukan penataan pedestrian guna mendukung kegiatan pariwisata yang ada di Kota Yogyakarta. Selain itu juga dengan penataan pedagang kaki lima di Malioboro dengan membangun teras Malioboro. Yang ketiga ada business branding melalui pengembangan pemasaran dan peningkatan kualitas atraksi pariwisata dan ekonomi kreatif. Ini ada Wayang Jogja Night Carnival dan Kampung Wisata, serta menghidupkan kembali Pasar Kangen Jogja pasca pandemi dengan bazar UMKM melalui Tandang Jogja Kreatif atau Tandang Trisno.
Izin Bapak, kalau boleh mungkin kita boleh in another 2 minutes karena masih ada 3 pembicara. Terima kasih Bapak.
Ya. Terus sedangkan capaian kegiatan Smart City Kota Yogyakarta ini termasuk dalam dimensi smart ekonomi, ada ekosistem industri berdaya saing, ada klinik ngelarisi, ada workshop pasar digital, ada pelaksanaan home business camp-nya berupa coaching dan mentoring, dan juga ada ekosistem transaksi keuangan, ada pembayaran retribusi dengan e-retribusi di seluruh pasar milik pemerintah kota, ada pengembangan SI atau UPT bisnis untuk melakukan transaksi pembayaran cas dan sewa kios secara tunai, ada pemberian cashback itu 10.000 rupiah melalui kerjasama dengan GoTo atau Gojek Tokopedia. Kemudian untuk pencapaian kegiatan Smart City dalam dimensi Smart Living, kita ada Kampung Tangguh Bencana, ada Sitaru, Sistem Informasi Tata Ruang, dan M3K, Mundur Munggah Madep Kali. Jadi inovasi M3K ini merupakan salah satu penanganan permukiman kumuh di Kota Yogyakarta. Konsep M3K ini dengan permukiman mundur minimal 3 meter dari pinggir sungai untuk akses mitigasi bencana, perlindungan terhadap bahaya longsor dan jalan inspeksi dan peletakan infrastruktur, serta munggah ini melalui konsep rumah susun dan madep atau menghadap sungai sehingga sungai menjadi bersih karena merupakan area depan rumah. Forum kami ada proteksi lingkungan, penanganan kumuh, ada RTHP, ada CCTV dan free wifi pada RTHP, ada tata kelola sampah dan limbah, dan jumlah bank sampah kita sampai saat ini ada 658 bank sampah, ada pengelolaan sampah di lingkungan balai kota, dan ada penyusunan master plan pengelolaan persampahan juga. dan ada tata kelola energi, ada SIM penerangan jalan umum, ada pendataan PJU berbasis GIS, ini sudah 60% sudah terdata, dan ada pengelolaan lingkungan dengan aplikasi Silaling atau pelaporan pengelolaan lingkungan bagi perusahaan dan aplikasi uji kualitas air dengan layanan online permohonan pengujian air. Dan ada Smart Society, kita ada ekosistem belajar, layanan peminjaman buku secara drive-thru, ada co-working space yang ada di RW-RW, dan ada sistem keamanan masyarakat juga, ada pengembangan early warning system, ada pencegahan, penanggulangan kebakaran, dan sebagainya. Pembentukan red car dilakukan untuk mendukung respon time 10 menit, ada pembentukan kampung panca tertib, dan juga ada pengembangan ekosistem digital. Jadi pada tahun 2022 sudah terdapat 9 kelompok yang mendapat pelatihan digital marketing. Setelah itu ada Smart City Kota Yogyakarta, persebaran WiFi publik. Jadi Kota Yogyakarta mencapai kota cerdas, ini menyediakan layanan WiFi publik yang sudah terfilter. Sehingga apa? Ini dapat digunakan secara aman, layanan ini gratis bagi masyarakat yang dapat memanfaatkan atau mengakses internal ini. Dan juga ada layanan free hotspot di berbagai ruang publik Kota Yogyakarta. Ini ada dimanfaatkan oleh masyarakat dengan login menggunakan ID JSS atau Jogja Smart Service yang berbasis NIK. Sampai dengan tahun 2023, jumlah titik WiFi publik di Kota Yogyakarta mencapai 1066 titik dan masih dilaksanakan proses pemasangan di beberapa titik juga. Terus untuk fasilitasi WiFi publik juga dapat ditemui di RTHP, ada di kementerian, di kelurahan, sampai balai warga, sampai puskesmas, koramil, polsek, sampai SD, SMP, baik negeri maupun swasta, serta pada semua kantor perangkat daerah. Dan saat ini ada 248 titik CCTV yang sudah terpasang di wilayah Kota Yogyakarta, dan 90 titik merupakan CCTV publik, dan 150 titik merupakan private atau CCTV yang hanya dapat diakses oleh internal. Ini untuk tangkapan layar CCTV publik. Bisa dilihat hasil tangkapan layar dari CCTV yang dapat diakses oleh publik. Yang pertama ada di CCTV kantor pos BNI. Yang kedua ada CCTV di Simpang Pajeksan, dan yang terakhir merupakan CCTV di Sungai Gajah Wong. Untuk Smart City yang ekosistem digital, ini kita Kota Yogyakarta membentuk ekosistem digital membutuhkan smart people, berdaya guna yang kemudian berkolaborasi untuk mencapai Smart City. Ini kolaborasi dengan UMKM Go Digital atau Sobat Kami Digital. Terus ada seminar keamanan cyber, ada workshop internet sehat untuk guru. Jadi untuk mewujudkan city appearance ini dengan penataan pedestrian juga kita lakukan. Penataan tidak hanya dilakukan dengan memperbaiki kondisi fisik trotoar, jalur FO, dan komunikasi, tetapi kami juga menata dengan sistem ducting, sehingga tidak ada lagi kabel udara yang melintang. Penataan jalur ini ditujukan untuk apa? Untuk meningkatkan estetika kawasan agar menjadi lebih rapi dan nyaman. Jadi melalui penataan jalur FO dan komunikasi, maka tidak ada lagi kabel yang melintang di udara seperti di kawasan Tugu Yogyakarta dan kawasan Jalan Sudirman. Ibu Bapak yang saya hormati, pada dasarnya Smart City ini bukan hanya persoalan penerapan teknologi untuk menyelesaikan permasalahan kota, dan tidak hanya menitik beratkan kepada pemerintahan saja, namun Smart City ini juga harus mendorong partisipasi lebih aktif masyarakat kota dalam setiap aspek pembangunan sebagai smart people. Interaksi dua arah antara pemerintah dan masyarakat ini akan terus berproses, sehingga kota akan menjadi tempat yang nyaman untuk ditinggali, serta tangguh dalam merespon perubahan dan tantangan yang baru dengan lebih cepat. Demikian yang dapat saya sampaikan, kurang lebihnya saya mohon maaf. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak Bapak. Mr. Agustri Haryono is the head of the Regional Development Agency, which representing Mr. Singgi Raharjo as the Mayor of Yogyakarta City. And I think discussing and exposing about the accomplishment of Yogyakarta City is a good best practice, one of the best practice in Indonesia to really showcase what are the accomplishment has been done by Yogyakarta City. Thank you very much, Bapak, for sharing. Terima kasih banyak dengan kami. I think for more detail, it's very important what I highlighted, Bapak mentioning about gandeng gendong or hold each other. I think it is part of a showcasing of a connecting the pentahelix of community, private sector, village, university, and the city itself. So if you would like to learn more and understand of how Yogyakarta City implement these services, I think we could get it in a different session with Kota Yogyakarta. Terima kasih Bapak waktunya.
Terima kasih.
Then next, moving on, we will also would like to learn also from a best practice from other country. We have with us right now a speaker from Silapkorn University, Mr. Tana Sirapiwat, as the assistant professor from Silapkorn University. And we would like to hear about the country experience, a little bit background that he's taking an urban technological environmental planning from College of Architecture and Urban Planning, Michigan. And so I think you could share your best practice of what you have done in Bangkok. So the screen is yours without further ado, and apology for the delay. We might probably have a maximum of 10 minutes time. So thank you.
Let's see. Let me start sharing my slides. Okay, good morning. Thank you, Erica, for introduction. Good morning, distinguished speakers, attendees, and most of all, the hosting teams of this webinar that make this discussion session possible. And I would go a little bit quicker since, you know, when I heard the previous 4 speakers earlier, I think we start to see the share kind of goals in terms of, you know, the smart city development in, you know, worldwide from the UN Habitats kind of, you know, speaks, and from government authorities, from the 2 ministers of Indonesia and from Yogyakarta. I think we share common goals and also share some common challenges as well. And I would like to show you what we have been doing in terms of the smart city development, and to tie this to the topic of this kind of webinar focusing on the new urban agenda. So I kind of try to make connections between the city smart city development in Thailand and the new urban agenda, which is definitely kind of, you know, a subset of goals of the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDG. What I'm presenting here is like the timeline of the smart city development in Thailand. We have started something in terms of the government policy and government entities that to start to support the movement toward the smart city development in Thailand. And this also influenced and tied to the 13 National Economics and Social Development Plan. This is every 5 years we have the national plan. And this year we started the new plan, which is the 13th plan, which tied tightly with the SDGs more than the previous plan. And then I will present a little bit about the Smart City Thailand, which is the policy governing the development of different smart cities in Thailand. The framework was done by the Digital Economy Promotion Agency that kind of set out the guideline and the criteria to award cities to be a smart city in Thailand, and the status of what we have been right now. And at the end, I would like to talk a little bit about the gaps between Thailand's smart city development and the new urban agenda. This is the timeline that kind of, we have a little bit of traces representing the intention of the policy to make Thailand moving toward kind of digitization and also using the advanced technology to support the development of the country. So in 1992, we have the Ministry of Science, Technology and Environment, which later on evolved into different, at a certain time, it split into multiple ministries. And later on, we have the newest ministry that start to involve with the research and development, and also doing the kind of the strategic planning for using the innovation technology for the national development in 2019. We have the Ministry of Higher Education that take care of all the universities, especially the research university, science and research and innovation. But in the early day, 2003, Thailand has the policy or the goals to make the country to be smart Thailand as a whole country. And later on in 2013, we have Thailand 4.0, which is kind of the movement around the world that we said we're moving away from the high manufacturing, heavy industry to a more, smart and clean and more digital industry. So we have the policy, the goal to turn Thailand into Thailand 4.0 according to the advancement of the technology. The predecessor of the smart city in Thailand, we have this. 2017, we have these projects, government projects to study and plan for the innovation districts. They select about 15 districts, many of them in Bangkok and some are in other major provinces in other regions. And they're focusing on collaborating with the university that has the kind of the policy, public policy planning and city planning kind of department to help them to work with the local government and come up with the plan to develop the districts. Now we start looking at a sub area of a city because it's a district to be the innovation district, focusing on a similar aspect of the smart city. And later on, this study expanded into the policy of the Smart City Thailand in 2019. As I said, we have the national plan. The previous national plan was in 2017. That is the 12th National Economic and Social Development Plan. This plan has one specific strategy out of 10 total, focusing on the development of city and regions, in terms of the spatial, the area-based development plan. Unfortunately, there's a gap between having the national plan in terms of the policy plan and these spatial, the physical plan. We have the 12th plan in 2017. After that, the Department of Town Planning take on, to do the country special plan and regional special plan. But right now, the 12th plan is already expired. The national plan and the regional plan hasn't been completed yet. And we already started the 13th plan already. So there's a lack of coordination between the policy plan into the area-based special plan that we try to catch up with. I think we have a committee to study and making recommendation for the committee, the National Economic and Social Development Council, to work along with the policy plan, having another team to develop the special plan for the country. And hopefully the 14th plan will come along with the policy plan with the special plan in the future. But in 2019, 23, which is this year, we started the new plan, and it has 5 development targets, which I will explain a little bit further, with 13 milestones, and one of that will be on the city and having specific term, smart city, in that milestone. And we have under this national plan, we have 4 development areas. And the smart city, under this Smart City Thailand policy, we now have 15 smart city overall. I think we are a little bit behind compared to Indonesia. And we have another kind of a step toward a full-fledged smart city we call Smart City Promotional Zone, which I will explain a little bit further as well. To understand the big picture, the development tied to support a certain aspect of this national economic and social development plan. So the plan specifically identified the correlation between the 17 SDG. So you can see the area of development, and they identify how this target or milestone will support or drive the country toward the SDG goals. And in Southeast Asia, the ASEAN country, I think we have annual self-evaluation, right, for the SDG implementation. And Thailand is #1 among the 10 ASEAN countries. But I still doubt their self-evaluation a little bit, like, goal #1, we score ourselves very highly to be successful, which I kind of doubt about that kind of scoring system. But overall, to give you the kind of the clear picture of these are the milestones, the 13 milestones allocated to support different area of development. And among those, milestone, we have 5 targets, right? Restructuring manufacturing and services sector to become innovation-based economy, developing human capital for the future, creating society of opportunity and fairness, transitioning production and consumption towards sustainability, enhancing Thailand's ability to cope with changes and risk under new global context, which is like the resiliencies. And under each of the targets, we have identify the milestone. So you can see the some of the milestone will support all 5 targets. And milestone number 8 is specific for the city development. For this, the milestone set is aim for safe and livable space and smart cities. And among those areas, you see the color code of this milestone. The color code identify the 4 areas of development, like the manufacturing and service sector, socio-economic opportunity and equity, natural resources and environmental sustainability, and key enabler for Thailand's transformation. So this is like the broader picture, but I would like to highlight a little bit on the milestone number 8. So we have, to summarize, the milestone set goals to develop, to decentralize the development toward the regions. Now, Thailand has been having the plan to decentralize for over 20 years already in the last 4 or 5 national plans, but still Bangkok is the primate city, the center of the development in the city. So the new plan focusing on, really focusing on developing decentralized and focusing on the regional development, and the smart city will be part of the instrument or the measures to help to help the country to succeed in this milestone. So we have 3 areas: competitiveness in terms of the economic development, social cohesion and equity, and also the economic, natural, environmental friendly. And we have the 5 strategies: strengthening local economy, promoting collaboration among stakeholders, and preparedness in terms of the investment in the green infrastructure, and strengthening the management using the technology to help the government and other entities to manage the development, collaborate in the city development. And for the Smart City Thailand, we set out the guideline in 2019, and we also set up the National Steering Committee on Smart City that take care of approving the plan and monitoring the progress of these cities that have the approved plan. And we have 7 areas aspect of smart city. We have smart living, smart environment, which is the required aspect that all the smart city, when they propose the plan to be kind of awarded or certified as smart city, they have to have plan for the smart environment, plus one of others, at least one of the others aspects, like smart mobility, smart people, smart economy, smart governance, and smart energy. So I think this is a little bit different from other kind of section of the smart city that each country focusing on. But in Thailand, we said the smart city doesn't need to develop all aspect of the smart aspect, but at least the smart environment plus one other aspect, that's enough. And then we have they have the criteria to kind of certify the smart city plan. Initially they evaluate the plan, and then once they got the kind of certified plan or approved plan, then they move on to the implementation. And this organization, the steering committee, will keep track. They need to do the annual report, and then the committee will kind of scoring them to push them forward the goal. And in terms of the overall country status, and I also put in parentheses to compare with Indonesia, Thailand has about 60 million people compared to over 200 million population, and the GDP is about 510 billion US dollar. Indonesia is almost 1,400 billion. But in terms of internet user proportion, Thailand has a quite large number of internet users, almost 78%. I think in 2023, we probably exceed the 80% of population who are internet user. And the average world population is a little bit over 60%. So I think in Southeast Asia in particular, we are quite, quite advanced in terms of having access and using the internet technology. And in terms of ranking of the smart city, Thailand smart city, I'm sorry, it's got disconnected. Okay, this is the ranking. Is my screen still sharing? Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is from the IMD ranking. From the beginning, we have Phuket, which is part of the Smart Thailand program. Phuket was one of the 50 smart city in the ranking in 2018, and then Bangkok become the major smart city in Thailand. At the beginning in 2019, Bangkok was in 25th in the ranking out of 102 cities. And then we did better in 2020 in terms of the ranking, but in terms of the candidates start to increase, 109 cities overall in the ranking. And then we drop a little bit also for Jakarta, we move up a little bit and then got back down in 2023. Bangkok compared to other 141 cities, we are the 80th in the rank, and Jakarta is 102. And these are the number of smart city. This is a full-fledged smart city which has approved plan and also started to implement the plan already. We have overall 15 cities. In this map, these are the dark green, the provinces that has cities, smart cities within the provinces. And the mid green ones are the smart city promotional zone. Now, right now we have 32 cities. In terms of the city is like municipalities within the provinces. So this map show only provinces, but among these provinces, we have 33 promotional zone overall. And Bangkok is definitely did a lot better than others, in terms of the annual ranking score. We have out of 100, we have 78. And Phuket, which is the early smart city in Thailand, came in the second. And Chonburi, which is the Eastern Economic Corridor zone, the special economic zone of Thailand, start to pick up the speed in terms of the smart city development, and the rest of the countries kind of follow up the suit. And we kind of classify the smart city into three categories. We have the leaders, those cities that got the better score, over 70% overall in terms of the implementation. This is the area, over 70% of the implementation score and over 70% of the planning and strategy score. So we have a little bit here. And then the middle ranking is the challenger. Those are the city that has the kind of mid-level planning and mid-level implementation. And those that are lower, right now we have only 2 of the 40 something cities that are still in the follower, which has, like Makassar, which is the new development area in Bangkok. They start to have a good plan, but they haven't implemented anything just yet. And Sitrang is a city that start to implement something, but their plan is not quite well defined. So the scoring of the planning and strategy is just above the 50%. And this is like, how we manage and drive the city by having the evaluation and the criteria for the scoring to keep track of their progress. And to sum up and kind of connect that smart city development to the new urban agenda, I identifying the critical gaps between the development goals and plan with the new urban agenda. We have some gaps in the inclusivity and equity. I think even though Thailand, since last year, we have over 50% of population live in urban area, but still, there's still disparity in terms of the benefit that people get from the digital infrastructure. So definitely, we still have the digital divide. We see the larger number of internet users in the country, but only the small number of those users make use or generate income using the internet technology. The rest are just using the technology to spending out the money from their pocket, not earning money as an income. So that's a kind of the major situation that we need to cope with, and having a better plan and strategy to reduce the gap of this digital divide. And the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, we heavily rely on the private investment. As I said, the larger number of internet users are spender, not money maker. But we have larger number of people who start to learn and use this infrastructure for the e-commerce and doing this kind of making income from the content development and stuff like that. And we start to have multiple online courses that run by the individual or private freelancers and stuff like that. Yes.
Maybe I find like another 1 minute. Sorry, thank you.
I think this is, we have one more slide. And another thing is the engagement using the platform to have the active citizen rather than, having the happy user to enjoy themselves at the leisure time. But we need to utilize the infrastructure and and developing the more effective platform for the engagement of the public for the city development. And the sustainable resource management and taking care of the environmental impact. I think the smart city policy emphasized the smart environment as a required aspect, that each of the smart city should have the plan for that, but we still have not yet see the effect. Mostly they used to manage the development of the land development, infrastructure development, not so much of the conservation of natural resources or even like replenish the reduced natural resources. And another important aspect is the cultural heritage and preservation. We haven't seen the criteria in the smart city development that specifically highlight this cultural heritage and preservation, and we need to have a better. We will need to do better to implement part of the new urban agenda. And as we have heard from the previous speaker in terms of the data privacy and security, we have a lot of problem with the spam and illegal transaction of this mobile technology that people lose money from scams and stuff like that. And the integration of multiple urban systems, that means we need to integrate the big data set and to help the city to better manage the urban infrastructure and urban development, land uses and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much like the whole big picture related to the national plan, to the smart city policy and strategy, and the gaps that we still need to improve in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a very good insights for us to understand how Thailand has been implementing smart city over the years. So Mr. Thana Sirapiwat is a project director and urban planning specialist on several projects. And hopefully we would like to understand more, definitely probably a few questions from the participant and audience. Please feel free to raise your question in the chat box. Thank you very much for one of the speakers, Miss from UN Habitat, Miss Adlam Yemeru has been responding to even some questions on the chat box, because I think the time is very limited for us to discuss a lot of things, a lot of different subjects, a lot of experts are here. Therefore, before we go into details, I would like to invite our next speakers, also from one of a city in Indonesia, city of Makassar. Ibu Ismawati Nur, as the head of communication and information services from the Makassar city, representing the mayor of Makassar, Mr. Muhammad Ramdan Pomanto, which is not able to present with us today. Please, Ibu, if you could share about the implementations, progress, and challenges in Makassar city. We would like to give maximum 5 to 10 minutes, because I think the time right now is 11 o'clock. We will have 2 more speakers for 10 minutes. Then after that, we will have about roughly 30 minutes to discuss. Thank you very much. Ibu Kadis, time and screen is yours.
Thank you very much. Are you hearing me? I'm afraid that the internet is quite lagging, probably because I'm far away.
Thank you, Ibu. We can hear your voice loud.
Okay?
Yeah, we can hear your voice, and the presentation we also can see. Go ahead, Ibu.
Okay. Introduce me. I am Ismawati Nur. I'm the head of Information and Communication Agency of Makassar City Government. I'm here to represent Mr. Muhammad Ramdan Pomanto, the mayor of Makassar, who is sending his apology for being unable to participate due to his other commitment at this moment. So as far as I know, that the Makassar City Government is given a task to provide a presentation on how smart city is implemented in Makassar and how is the future planning and development of Makassar Smart City, including the issues and challenges faced by the city. So I hope I can provide a brief of this, maybe not very complete, but I hope I can provide the profiling of the smart city in Makassar. So I will start from the Makassar's vision in the midterm development, that is to accelerate Makassar to be a world-class city that is Sombere and smart city. So Sombere is about being humble and hospital in public service delivery, and smart with building strong immunity for all or inclusively. So then we break down the vision into 3 missions. So in general, the 3 missions are all about institution, society, and environment. So the institution is the revolution of human resource and acceleration of bureaucracy reformation. And about the society is about health, economy, socio-cultural, and economic reconstruction for improved communities' welfare and economic immunity for all. So this is the inclusive part of our program. And then the environment is about urban space restoration that is livable, sombere, and smart for all. So Makassar realizes that urbanization is a critical problem right now and then, especially because we're talking about 2045, and that it will be even worse with issues of food security, energy, and climate change. And there are many other issues. And urban issues cannot be approached with business as usual way. Instead, smart solutions and innovations need to be explored and forwarded. Especially in this digital era, our citizens want public services faster, easier, and cheaper. And digitalization and technology have changed people's culture and public services in Makassar. And I think it's everywhere in this world. Digitalization and technology have altered the way of people-to-people interaction, including government to business and government to people interaction. Also G2G, of course. They change process businesses in many aspects. So next, so in response to that, Makassar said its goal to be a Sombere and smart city. This is really one of our priority programs. As I mentioned before, that Sombere is being hospitable and humble to people. So we consider it as a hardware from your heart that control technology, or the hardware and software of public service delivery. So we believe human and technology coordination is the key for effective and efficient public service delivery. And this also reflects our government to people interaction, that people-centered approach is put forward in the planning and decision-making processes. So this is in the slides. It's the existing condition of Makassar, where there are 1.5 million people residing in Makassar at night, and then during the day, there are even more people coming to Makassar from neighboring cities and regencies, because we have a regional area called Maminasata. So there are 4 cities and regencies all together becomes one. Makassar, we consider it doesn't have any border right now, because it's open for everyone, even from all over the province, to come and reside in Makassar. Makassar has the highest economic growth, even be above the national and provincial rate. It's 5.4 last year. And it's really because we have a lot of programs to improve economic conditions in Makassar, including people's living condition in our cell. It's called Lorong. So we have this Makassar Recover program in the last 2 years that successfully increased the economic growth of Makassar. So I will continue. So following the technological increase, Makassar introduces several innovations to address urban issues on various sectors, including health, culture, revenue generation, infrastructures, and social welfare. In response to the Industry 4, now going to Society 5, Makassar takes advantages of Internet of Things, AI, AR, and automation. So Makassar, as for your information, has the largest logistic hub in Eastern Indonesia, and we want to take a benefit of having this ecosystem in Makassar later on. So I will continue. So one of our program is home care and telemedicine, in which residents are given equal access. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Again, yeah, this one. So one of our program is home care and telemedicine, in which residents of all segmentations are given equal access to government doctors and clinics. So through the call center 112, residents can call for a doctor from the nearest health clinic and get a home treatment or else admitted to the city hospital. And now the program improved with a telemedicine program. Patients can quickly acquire health diagnosis from remote specialists. So this program aims to increase health resilience of people in Makassar. So being inclusive, we don't only provide services for citizens, but all residents, meaning both citizens and not citizens residing in Makassar. So it's even better than the insurance program, BPJS. Another program is the integrated and digitalized tax program. We call it Pakinta, using a mobile application. Next slide, please. Using a mobile application. Next slide, please. Yeah. This application aims to avoid middlemen that usually add on the cost, and people do not need to pay at the counter, so they can access everywhere using their mobile phone, of course. So we also massively monitor payment at restaurants citywidely to increase revenue and mitigate risk of fraud. And this is proven to have increased our city income significantly. So we are grateful because now we are again reaching back our income from previously going down before the during the pandemic. Now it's even more than the last situation before the pandemic. Pandemic is 1.387 trillion rupiahs. So another program, next slide. Another program is MARVEC, stands for Makassar Economic Virtual Center. It's a data center that we are developing right now. It's under construction. So we have started collecting and compiling data at our command room right now. It's on our city hall on the 10th floor. So we have a command room over there and also a small data center. So we seek to integrate sectoral data from various from all the agencies, and right now we are under process of integrating the data at some extent. So Marfec aims to become not only a data center, but also a marketplace that meet producers and buyers, shortcutting middlemen and reducing goods prices. So we aim to play the marketplace not only at Makassar level, but the East Indonesia coverage. With the demographic bonus, more Marfec, we want Marfec to be one of the smart solutions to utilize and empower the demographic bonus while helping upscaling small and middle scale enterprises. We also introduced digitalization in the city farming, integrated with our specific program called early tourism program that aims to improve residents' quality of life and of course the livelihood. An alley is a narrow street, 2 to 3 meters in width, connecting houses in the alley neighborhood. So it's even smaller than neighborhood association. So one alley could have like 10 to 20 houses. So one neighborhood association usually comprises of 50 houses. So related to that digitalization in the city farming, we use machine learning and artificial intelligence to make the irrigation of you can see from the slides, the city farming, to make the irrigation easier and automated. And we also installed a measure for the air quality. So this is in cooperation with the NSF, the National Science Foundation of the United States. They are really happy to see how social engagement in the Lorong programs, it's very dynamic and productive, because then they can see that in this Lorong or early program, there are people to governments interaction that is very, very good. And also because they can see that all the agencies within the city government is trying to contribute to succeed the early program to make the livelihood of a lot of people improved. And then lastly, for the overall city and the early neighborhood, we also provide surveillance CCTVs. Now we have installed 6,000 CCTVs in 1,500 alleys, in also 230 cities CCTVs to increase the safety of residents. So safety and security is one of Smart City core principles, and we believe that this effort can build people's trust on government. And then currently a growing interest on our city CCTVs exists. For example, our CCTVs are also used right now for monitoring traffic violation and criminal acts by the police and army organizations. So we are still exploring other add-on functions of CCTVs because we have so many, such as for flood early warning system and also for illegal parking monitoring that we are building right now. So in fact, we are inviting, potential investors to also contribute to in smart solutions to make our public services in the city of Makassar, better and better. So lastly, challenges to the implementation of smart city projects are the sectoral collaborations. Even though we consider it much better than before, but still internally, we are still facing the collaboration problems. And then support from the provincial and national government, especially in providing legal protection for the innovations, because not all innovations, because sometimes innovations, exceeds in advance than the regulation. So we consider it a challenge because sometimes they don't understand that innovations can break through, and sometimes it's not aligned with the existing regulations. So that's really a big issue. We also face capacity issues internally, and also at the city government level. So in the agency and also in resources, of course. And most importantly, we think that project sustainability is also a challenge due to commitment. So it's not only political commitment, but also leadership commitment, because we'll never know when there's a change in leadership within one institution, within the government itself, commitment can change. So I think we really need to work together to answer, to find solution for these challenges, because it's more about institutions. Thank you very much. I'm welcome for questions.
Thank you, terima kasih banyak Ibu Kadis, Ibu Mrs. Ismawati Nur for the presentations. And I think it's very exciting that Makassar City is also one of our pilot cities, even the ASEAN Smart City Networks, alongside with DKI Jakarta and Banyuwangi Regency. So I think Makassar has shown a lot of progress and implementations on Smart City. And so we would like to learn more. I'm sure all the participants who are still present have a lot of questions. Please feel free in the chat box. But before we get on to our discussion session, I would like to welcome our final speaker, Professor Rini Rahmawati, distinguished professor from Universitas Gadjah Mada or Gadjah Mada University, and she will be providing her expertise as a discussant on this morning session. Before Ibu Professor Rini start, are you ready, Professor? If we can have her, okay. And also before she starts on the several points to be shared, we also would like to invite all the participants to be participating, in the discussion in the chat box, and also we provide a link on a polling, because participations from the participants are very important. So please, Professor Rini, we would like to give a little brief of information. Professor Rini Rahmawati, as the head of Center for Southeast Asian Social Studies of Gadjah Mada University. As the professional experience, she has been an experience on working together with Indonesian municipalities all throughout the years to conduct smart city implementations in several cities, doing the evaluations, external system on e-government, and also had been invited in many different forum as speakers and discussion. So Professor Rini, the time and screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Erika. Now I'm with a part of participants in the Center for Southeast Asian Social Studies that joined with us offline here. Okay. I will not deliver some presentation again because there are so many resource person that already presents the very important and very nice presentations. So I think that after we learn coming from all of the presenter, we have the important issue now. It is about the smart city for national urban development and ASEAN prospect in the context of urban development. So from Indonesian, we have to think about how in Indonesia countries will be have a very important parts in the context of ASEAN, especially for the smart cities and urban development. And we know that we have the challenges of smart city implementation, especially in Indonesia. It is related to the scope of digital infrastructure development, because we know that a part of the country now we have a limited of the digital infrastructure, especially for the rural area and for the islands, some island area in our country. But in some of the cities in Indonesia, I think the digital infrastructure already developed, and we can use the digital infrastructure very well. And also how to how to increase the digital literacy of the community, and also for the government sides. It is very important challenge for the case of Indonesia. And human resources, of course, not only for the society, but also for the governments in Indonesia. We need to increase our human resources and ICT-based services, and how every city try to providing the ICT-based services, and some applications that are applicable and integrated, because we know that the applications that provided by some of city, I think that some of them is not applicable and not with the integrated system. And then we also have to think about the future smart city development with the concept of smart sustainable urban developments. My team and I now have some research about the metaverse, digital twins, and smart sustainable urban development, especially for the Nusantara capital or cities. And then coming from the presentation, we try to make a lesson learned and response to the presentations, starting from Bapak Zevi from the Ministry of Public Work of Housing. We learn about the opportunities and barriers to implement smart city, that we need data readiness and emerging technology, policy, and of course also regulation and stakeholder engagement. And the important thing is about the funding availability. And then coming from Ibu Dwi Afida from the Ministry of Communication and Informatics, I think that's this ministry, they have a very good activity in the movement of the 100 movement towards smart city in Indonesia, and now already reached 194 city and region becoming smart city. And also now try to do an activity in relation with smart province in 2 of the province we have in Jawa Barat and Daerah Istimewa Yogyakarta. And then coming from the Adlan from UN Habitat, that UN Habitat commit to adapting a smart city approach and make information communication technology accessible. And we have to think about the what happened in 2050. That's 68% urban population will be stay in the urban area, and I think that it is very dangerous for us because we'll continue with many of problems in the city. And then one thing that's very important also from the presentation, it is about the UN Habitat mandated to devise a guideline for shaping smart cities with strategy and regulations. And then from Pak Agus, from the Bapeda Kota Jakarta, in Yogyakarta, they have 11 strategic issues and ICT as an enabler of employee and public services. And not only in Yogyakarta city, I think, but also a lot of cities now, especially for the smart governance dimension, they try to have public services that based on the ICT use, and the community, they already use this kind of services. And from the case of Yogyakarta, they have very good example in relation with the Gandeng Gendong 5 key synergy from Kampung, and another kind of programs with the CSR forum, and also the practices of the Indonesia Smart service. It is a very good example for the case of Kota Yogyakarta. And then coming from Tana from Pakom University, he already remind us on the urban agenda that Thailand's smart city development, they still have gaps. For that, especially in relation with the inclusivity, community engagement, sustainable resource management, data privacy and security, and also integration of urban system. And the last one from the case of Makassar city, they have a very good vision in accelerating Makassar as a world-class city with sombere and smart values to deliver strong immunities for all. And yeah, this city also implemented the smart city, especially with the sombere Makassar. I think it is also very important and good example coming from the city of Makassar. And then the last of my presentation is about the brief points of view. It is related with the digital infrastructure, innovation and application, smart city and urban development, especially in relation with implementation and challenges, and smart city development in Southeast Asia for the prospect of Indonesia. Related with the digital infrastructure, it is very important component for the urban development, and the infrastructure also as important to support technological innovation and overall regional developments. And the security data is something that crucial aspect of the digital infrastructure, and also the government's rule for developing and managing digital infrastructure, especially in the term of regulation. And in relation with the innovation and application, we know that ICT can accelerating digital transformation, and the implementation of public services in providing some public services in the city is very crucial. And also we need supporting the smart city concept, especially in the smart governance in the application of ICT in public services. And then for the smart city and urban development in Indonesia, in relation with the implementation and challenges, we need for focusing on the community involvement in decision making, and also reporting problems that can help create more inclusive and responsive cities. And also smart cities require appropriate policy and regulatory support from the government. And for the prospect of Indonesia on the smart city development in Southeast Asia, I think that we need to think about the smart urban transportation that can bring many benefits for the countries, for our country and the society. But also we need a strong commitment and cross-sector collaboration and careful planning. And smart city development requires close collaboration with not only government and the community, but also the private sector and wider stakeholders. And the future smart city development and smart sustainable urban developments, I think that ICT aspect is very crucial. And then we also need fulfillment of social rights of the community to support the achievement of SDGs, especially SDGs number 11, and also leading global paradigm of urbanism for reaching sustainable cities, especially coming from the green infrastructure, smart sustainable urban infrastructure, economic infrastructure, and also social infrastructure. Now, I think that's all that I would like to share for the discussions session. Thank you very much, and the time will be back to Ibu Erika. Thank you, Ibu Erika,
Thank
and also all of the participants in Zoom and also in this room.
Wow, thank you very much, Professor Rini. It was a really great job of the team and Ibu of putting up a summary of all the speakers and pinpoints all the important aspects we need to take note, take home out of the 2 days webinar. And so I think looking at the time now is 11:34. According to the time schedule, then conclusion. Hello, apology. I think I have been disconnected for a minute there.
Yes, Bu Erika, we can hear you now.
Yeah, my apology. I think connection has been down for a minute there. I think that's one of the risks of having a online participating here, but hopefully that we still have everyone here. If we can pull up again and put in the spotlight, please. If we still have other speakers still with us. Do we still have Mr. Tana?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tana. Ibu Dwi? Ibu Dwi Afrida?
Ya, Mbak, masih di sini.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Adlam Yemeru, thank you very much. I can see that you are still there. We have Professor Rini. We still have Ibu Isma with us.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Terima kasih, Ibu. And I think, do we still have anyone from Yogyakarta?
Ya, Ibu, ada Ibu.
Terima kasih banyak, Bapak. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think we could have also address a few questions which has been asked in the chat box. Okay. I think number one, thank you very much, Mrs. Adlam. I think you have addressed this one question, but I think this is a very interesting question to be raised to distinguished speakers who are here about, okay. Okay, I think she was raised about how the it's very important about sustainability. I think Ms. Adlam Yemeru, if you could raise your answers here so it can be heard, and you could elaborate a little more on that.
Yes, thank you. I think the question was around how to ensure equity in the accessibility of technologies.
We're saying about how to balance comfortable infrastructure with technology that is easy to understand by all levels of society to be sustainable. Yeah. So I think it's a very important subject, because like looking at Indonesia, 548 cities, with a lot of different challenges, a lot of different understanding of the infrastructure and technology. How probably from your perspective, it could be understood by the society and be sustainable.
Yes, I think the context for smart city development is very different in different places. It varies across countries, it varies within countries. Readiness for smart city development is very different in different places, whether it's in terms of the infrastructure capabilities, the digital skills, the awareness around the technology is very different. So it's important to recognize the differences and the inequalities in terms of digital readiness between different cities, and even within a city, accessibility of digital technology is not the same. So we know that certain communities can be left behind, and questions of inclusion become very, very important. So the balance is absolutely key, both at the national level, but also within cities, within communities, and between individuals. So we must ensure that digital technology is not the new frontier of inequality between countries, inequality between cities, inequality between people as well. So this is a fundamental consideration. And this is why at UN Habitat, we're calling for a people-centered approach that is always prioritizing balance, prioritizing inclusion and equity. Of course, this is not something that can be resolved by one actor or public administration only. We need all stakeholders on board, including and in particular the private sector. And this is why it's important to look at digital technology as a public good, around which public responsibility and joint responsibility is fundamental. Otherwise, the risk of leaving behind many people, many communities, some cities, some countries is very high.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Adlam. Is there any other speakers who would like to add on to that?
Yeah,
Mr. Tana, go ahead.
I think the UN that focusing, like pick the issues and try to start making this people-centered guideline, which is, I think this is like, hitting the nail on the head. Because I think when you equip people, like you give the infrastructure, you give, tools, then the second stage is to kind of to do the capacity building, to educate people how to use those tools and equipment and the infrastructure. And they, as Adlam said, different communities has different kind of readiness. And I think in terms of the development plan, need to kind of compartmentalize and kind of apply different kind of level of technological implementation. The infrastructure development cannot be invest once and then everyone will be happy. Then you need to, because the gap is wide. The way to reduce the gap is that you increase the rate of the one at the bottom, and the one at the top might increase at the kind of lower rate, and because they are capable already. And then to reduce the gap, it's like you're running a marathon and you are like a few person behind the first one, and you want to win this race. Then you need to kind of slowly pick up the pace. When you're behind, if you are further behind, you need to pick up the pace even further. But then you need to set a proper timeline for the proper sectors of the development. Yeah, that is what I think. And I think the people center is the key aspect of the smart city development in this early stage, so that people, once I think infrastructure development is, that there will be government sector and also the private sector that are capable of improving the most and the highest technology possible into the infrastructure. But, that will not be effective if, the matching between the level of technology and the level of knowledge of different groups. Then you need to compartmentalize the development and set up the different strategies and different plans to help reducing the gap.
Thank you, Mr. Tana. So yeah, I think it is the human resources capacity building is very much needed to improve the knowledge of the know-how to use the technology. But also second thing, I think it was mentioning about how it can be to maintain it, how it can be sustainable. So probably from a perspective from the local government or maybe from Ministry of Public Works, have the perspective how are this infrastructure aside then the technology to be used, but also to be maintained correctly. So probably if there's from the Ministry of Public Works, from BPIW, if still here, or Ibu Isma, if you would want to share your opinion, how it has been done in Makassar City, please.
Thank you. So sustainability of smart city projects is really a big challenge in the city of Makassar. So it's true that we do need similar same perceptions between city government, community, and even the provincial government and national government on what is smart city. Smart city is so many things inside. Are you hearing me? Smart city is so many things inside. Is side to side is different in meaning, in programs, in projects, of course. So in Makassar itself, for example, we have to disseminate specific projects on smart city to our people, because it's our one of our priority program, in order for them to understand and then to accept what kind of project is that. For example, we consider not only Marfek, but for example, the Lorong, the tourism alley program. It takes years to make people understand, not only for the community but also internally within our city government, what is Lorong Wisata project, what kind of ecosystems that we are trying to build in the Lorong Wisata project. So all these things need to be disseminated, strengthened, in perceptions, in definition, make the institution working, and then who's the leading institution, for example. And maybe I should share that one of the failure of the another smart city, probably mobility. It's very, very difficult, to upscale mobility as one of our smart city project, because Makassar is a capital city where there are 3 tiers in Makassar itself. We have city government level, we have provincial government, also national governments. So without collaboration of these 3 tiers, mobility cannot, we cannot accelerate it. We cannot make it fast in development, which Makassar government really wants mobility to transform into a very fast, transportation, for example, how people, we already built this TOD and it's effective, efficient, but it won't happen without this 3 tiers collaboration. So probably this is also our input for the national government and provincial government to think about this, consider our programs, our people, because we are facing the people, we are facing the community. They are sending complaints directly to us. So provincial government and national governments, they don't get the complaint from people. We get them all. So please consider this kind of collaboration, of 3 tiers, whenever we want to make one smart city projects, succeeded. I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Bu Isma. I think that's a really great, testimony of how it has been done in the city of Makassar. What was really the challenges and how to make it work. So hopefully through all this discussion, we will have find a better idea and understanding. We are very proud having the national central government here, from Bapak Kepala Badan PUPR BPIW still here, Pak Zevi. If you could again also share, the perspective of the overall strategy, and hear it firsthand how the challenges, and we seen it from the global goals from UN Habitat and from Thailand. Please carry your feedback, Pak.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, siap, Pak.
Yeah.
Siap.
So yeah, I just want to strengthen the other speakers before. We need to engage in local communities in decision-making process. I think that's very important. Probably by conducting cultural assessments, we have to encourage them to understand unique aspects of village culture or wisdoms. Also, I think we really need to develop the technologies and infrastructure that will complement the local practice rather than replacing them. So, and then in terms of technology, maybe establish the maintenance framework. And also the other thing is the youth. We can encourage the local youth and volunteers in the maintenance efforts to promote collaboration with the private sectors, and also to support the funding for the projects. And maybe also some solutions are the regulation. We need to strengthen the regulation and enforcement mechanism so that the housings, the properties are used for a productive purpose. I think that's my idea. Thank you, Bu Erika.
Yeah. Terima kasih banyak, Pak. Thank you very much, Mr. Zavi. And so I think apology to all the other participants. I think there's a lot of questions was being asked in the chat box, but I think we may not have that much time to go through a lot of things as for the very limited time, but I would like to invite everyone. We still could have discussions after the webinar on the working group, which we will also involve more experts from the ASEC Center of Excellence on Smart City. One of the idea is that we would want to connect with all the stakeholders and bringing in one pool of information which can be accessible at any point of time on the implementation of Smart City in Indonesia. We are based in Bali. We are setting up a physical place in Jimbaran. And also we will be conducting a lot of different activities, and we are very glad to be involved in this very important webinar to broaden our horizons and connect with the similar minds, to really bring together a lot of insights to be shared, to a bigger crowd mass in Indonesia or even in the region in Southeast Asia. So therefore, hopefully this webinar will not stop here, that we are already connected through this webinar, and I'm very looking forward to be in touch with each one of you, especially distinguished speakers and participants. Please kindly join in our community group to get updated of what's going on in Indonesia. We could connect in the next session events, National Urban Forum, which will be conducted, I think, in the following months. So I think, or probably we would like to have from Yogyakarta, if you would like to add on anything else, if you are still on the call. Or Ibu Dwi from Yogyakarta. Silakan, Bapak. Maybe 1 or 2 minute response, then from Minister of ICT. Thank you. Izin, Pak, dari Bapeda Kota Yogyakarta, would you like to respond a little bit here for of the discussions? Izin Pak, mungkin masih di mute.
Oke, maaf Ibu.
Oke,
Sudah
ya, Pak.
terdengar?
Ya, sudah terdengar Bapak. Silakan Pak.
I'll try to respond about the how the modern technology, integration of modern technology with the preservation of cultural heritage. I think it is important to raise the awareness through disseminate of cultural heritage and historic landmarks through tourism, because the younger generation will be more using the technology more than the our generation. And the second is identification through the modern technology will help the cultural heritage to identify the elements, for example, the architecture, structural, and others. So I think it is the use of the modern technology. So the smart city, because Jakarta is one of the, yesterday it is the cosmological landmarks is UNESCO World Heritage. So it is very related to the with the smart city issue, I think.
Correct. Thank you very much, Bapak. I think it's very important to learn also from Yogyakarta, as there's a lot of heritage, and there will be a lot of great learnings from many different cities out there. And so the last one, maybe Ibu Dwi Alfrida, if you are still on the call.
Yeah, sure. One thing that I want to strengthen through all the presentation that I have heard today is I'm glad to listen to the presentation from Yogyakarta and Makassar, which is two of those cities are cities that we also gave assistance for smart city. And from their presentation, we saw the level of literacy for smart city development has already increased. Not only talking about the application, not only talking about the tools of ICT itself, but more of the program, and the ICT is part of the enabler tool to help them to deliver the program for the society. So I hope the other city and regency in Indonesia who might be listen to this presentation also can learn a lot from the Yogyakarta and Makassar experience, of course, and increase the better understanding of what smart city really is and how they create and develop innovation for smart solution to develop their city and regency. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibu Dwi Alfrida. And so probably the last one, then I would like to give it back to Professor Reni. I think she and the team had already summed up nicely, all the points from all the speakers. Probably is there any other points which you would like to share, Professor Reni?
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Erika, and all of the presenters for this conference. Yeah. Sorry for the technical problem. Okay. Yeah, I think that we can learn coming from all of the city that we already hear in these presentations in this conference, especially for the case of Yogyakarta and also Makassar city. And then also Professor Tana already give us some of the explanation on the some cities in Thailand and the development of the smart city in Thailand. I think for the level of ASEAN countries, we have to think about how we try to make comparisons, and for each countries we should make some integration thinking, how to develop smart city in the ASEAN perspective. And also we try to compare with what happened in the world. I mean that some cities like Barcelona, Singapore, and also another case be a very good example for us in the ASEAN countries, that we have to try to answer the big questions. How about the cities in ASEAN level, and over the cities in the ASEAN ASEAN groups? And so I think that every city, they have their own characteristic. That's why we don't forget about the characteristic of our cities in Indonesia and also in Southeast Asia. And we should make the concept of the smart city development in the context of Indonesia and Asia. Also, I think that perhaps it is will be different with the concept and implementation of smart city in the city in Europe, and also in America, and another parts of countries in the world. But it is also good for us if we try to listen and to try to get some best practices coming from some cities in other countries, especially not only from the Asia, Southeast Asia or Asia, but also from Europe and USA and another parts of countries in the world. Yeah, and we have to think about the new concept of smart, sustainable urban development. Not only smart city, but thinking about the sustainability. I think that's all for me.
Thank you so much, Professor Ini. So I think it's very important to stay connected, and I think the committee of National Urban Forum will have a lot of different activities following after this, which we would like to understand more and how we could contribute. So therefore, I think Professor Ini has already concluding, summarizing of all the points from the presenters. Thank you very much. And so to address all these challenges, collaboration between government, businesses, communities is very essential. It's crucial to have the discussion, get up-to-date information and experience. This will help us develop effective policy recommendation for smart city development. Therefore, I will give it back to the Master of Ceremony and the committee. Thank you very much for all the speakers. Probably we would like to have a quick snap of a picture of all the speakers and probably the participants if possible. There are still 242 online participants still joining us in this webinar. Thank you very much for staying all the way. And participants joining on the YouTube. Okay, so probably I'll give it back to the committee to give a cue on the pictures.
Okay, thank you so much, Bu Erika. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yeah.
So the committee will take the picture screenshot. This committee. 1, 2, and 3. For another slide. 1, 2, 3. Another slide. 1, 2, 3. And the last slide. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much. Well, again, thank you so much, Bu Erika, for moderating the webinar and engaging process of the discussion. I strongly believe that we've now gained valuable insights into the vision of smart cities. So maybe before we continue to our next agenda, I would like to announce that the best 3 questionnaires that have been chosen by the moderator, Ibu Erika. Please, the committee, can you show the announcement?
Oh, from me. Okay. So, yeah, I think we already saw a few questions being asked in the chat box. And there is Mr. Adi Yuda from the Ministry of Public Works participating. I'm very sorry, probably it has not been addressed in this meeting, but feel free to stay after the webinar and hopefully we can get on to the working group to discuss. Then Mr. Ibu Alfi Syahriana from BPPW Jatim for the question which has been discussed on the discussion panel. And the last one is from BKPP, Mr. Arif Rahman, with the question which probably also have not been addressed in this session. Feel free to stay on and we could discuss after the webinar. And I think it will be contacted by the committee for the gift. And thank you very much for the opportunity for moderating the session and the committee and all speakers. I wish to continue the discussion after this. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much,
Thank
Bu
you.
Erika. So congratulations to the 3 best questionnaires. Please kindly contact the committee through the WhatsApp on the screen. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and participants from around the world, we have reached the conclusion of our enlightening webinar toward Indonesia Smart 2045. What a journey it has been. Over the course of today's event, we've delved deep into the concept of smart cities and explored the innovative strategies, technologies, and visions that will shape Indonesia's urban landscape in the year 2045. We've had the privilege of hearing from brilliant minds, experts, and thought leaders who have shared their insights, experiences, and recommendations on the path toward creating smarter, more sustainable, and inclusive cities. Before we conclude, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this webinar possible. To our esteemed speakers, moderators, your expertise and insights have been invaluable. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us today. To our partners, your support and collaboration have been instrumental in bringing this event to fruition. To our diligent committee, thank you for ensuring a seamless and enriching experience for our participants. And of course, to all our participants, thank you for your active engagement, thoughtful questions, and your commitment to shaping a smarter and more sustainable future. Before we say goodbye, again, I would like to inform you that we will have a workshop in terms of smart city right after this webinar using the current link Zoom. So please, for the participant and also the speakers, could still stay in the Zoom. And we encourage you to stay connected with us and be part of these important initiatives. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this journey. Let's carry the inspiration and hope from today's discussion into the future. With that, I bid you all a fond farewell. Until we meet again, whether virtually or in person, may you continue to be champions on smart city development. Stay safe, stay inspired, and let's make Indonesia Smart 2045 a reality. I'm Hiro Renaldi. Goodbye and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, thank you so much to Prof. Rini, Bu Erika, and all speakers. Maybe, baik Ibu, mungkin selanjutnya bisa langsung diarahkan oleh Bu Rini ataupun Bu Erika untuk diskusi working group-nya Ibu, untuk yang workshop-nya. Setelah monitor Bu Erika mungkin.
Ya, saya masih di sini. Ini berarti masih menunggu beberapa narasumber yang lain ya untuk bergabung.
Baik, Ibu.
Izin Ibu Rini, ini yang akan bergabung ada Bapak Gensli dari Kemendagri, lalu kemudian Ibu